Hi everyone, today we will be going through advanced detailing on our character, and we will start with the animation timeline. So as you can see, we have a new feature that we have not used for the past lessons, and right now it's actually the best time to talk about animation timeline. Of course, we are not going to be working on animation, but the usage of the timeline is actually for layer management. So let me go ahead and explain to you the usage of animation timeline. So as once you bring out the tools for animation timeline, press create timeline and press this button on the bottom left corner where it will brings you to the frame timeline, and you will see that you are in the wrong project, and you will see that you will have a character that's representing the thumbnail that's representing the character. So press plus once and maybe twice because you do not want to change the anything from the first one because it will affect the entire frame that's on the second and third one. So let's go ahead and edit or change something from the third one. So since we are going to deal with everything below the character, right now we are going to turn off all the lighting here. And we are going to further detail our character, like the hair, the arms, the horns, right? And we don't want the lighting to affect our character. So this is one way that you can switch around the timeline to check whether it's looking okay or not. And this is definitely a method that I use a lot when detailing character. And let's get started. So for now, the most jarring thing for me is definitely the arms. So let's go in and work on the arm instead. Oh, and also we can turn off all the layers on top, including the layer effects. And we do not want any colors to be affecting us. And let's save this project into a new project. I may be merging things down to simplify the process as well. At this point, because we have done a lot of base, we might not need to go back in and do more details to different parts of the body. So I think we are at a good place to merge things down. But of course, I will still try to keep the parts separated in case we need to change something drastic. So let's get started. First, I want to fill in the hand because the hand is currently not filling up the entire part of the base. At this point, there's not really much thing to talk about because it's just detailing, filling up the void, and adding extra definition to the hand. And yeah, I think the only crucial part here is to use references. How does the palm look? How does the light affects the hand? This is the thing that we should be concerned of. Like we have light coming from the back, so light probably will hit this part of the hand. And of course, cleaning up parts like this. Yes, and this kind of part that is not clean as well. Yeah, just be more precise overall. And notice the skin color is changing. So we're gonna be definitely be more consistent. Even though this is the hand on the back, but I don't think the skin color would be you have such a drastic change in the colors. I'm definitely going to add some skin tone, lighter skin tone to the hand. And we could also, for the trimming for the hand, does not look weird. Yeah, normally I would make a new layer for this kind of detail, but this part of the hand is really not very important, and it's very easy to draw trimmings like that. It's just one black strip and a little bit of reflected light. So that's why we don't really need to be too concerned about how it looks. So of course drawing some more light coming from the back. Yes, and let's work on the horns a little bit. At this point, when you are working on the additional detail, also take note and try to clean up as much of the silhouette as possible, because you might go into a situation where you need to work on top of the entire layers. So having holes will affect the clipping mask, right? We are not able to paint things below what's not in the actual clipping mask layer. So we need to make sure our masking is consistent and it does not have any holes. Like example here, there's a hole right there, and there's a cut line. So we just gonna be more precise in that. And you realize that we actually have a lot of very uneven rendering in the ears, which is fine, because as long as your silhouette is nice, actually you wouldn't even notice what's in here. Like if I were to even if I were to detail here this part a little bit more, I would not really be focusing there. It's good to, of course, make it as clean as possible, but you need to know that the priority would definitely be making the silhouette look good than the inside. Sometimes you can just have several value shift on the inside, and the character will already look good. And now, of course, we will be more precise to drawing the hair line. Now, at this point, since we talk about making the hair look more realistic, let's go ahead to introduce you some brushes to make the hair look realistic. So we can go into speckle brush, and there's something called the scratch brush. See, when it's big, we see a lot of sandy texture, but when it's really small, it looks like very nice detailed hair overlapping each other. So yeah, this is definitely a brush that we can use for extra detail. So let me make a new layer. We probably don't need to clip mask this time. And let's continue to draw some hair strand. We have already decided where the light source is. So at this point, really, we are just blending and giving some texture to the hair. One thing to take note of is to follow where you have already plugged in your light source. So if I have a shape like this here as the light source, I will make sure to just follow that shape and not go too much over that shape. So you see, we can still see the light source, but keeping the shape of the highlight. So yeah, we are not trying to destroy whatever we have built in the past. And then this is where I will be more bold in adding the shadow, because I want these horns to cast a shadow on the... Also, I believe at this point we can bring the hair to the top layer. A reason being, I want hair to be in front of the ears as well. So yeah, this is the time we can do all these things. Just keep in mind that this is just like, yeah, you're making an extra detail on your character. So this can definitely be on top of everything else, just like a normal paint over layer. And at this point, if you want to add layers on your hair, you are definitely able to, and it's easy because right now you don't have to think of layer. Everything is painting on top of it. Yeah, and I'm trying to do this without merging the entire layer. So if anything goes wrong, you can always go back or delete the part that you do not like and draw over it again. This way we save a lot of time, and if there's a need to counter paint any part of the painting, you can try to avoid that because we have enough layers to work with. We can always find out whether it's on top or below. Yeah, so many ways. Yeah, my workflow definitely revolves around saving time, and also it works for artists that are probably do not dare to like make mistakes, because every time you're afraid of something, you make a new layer. So that's one of the workflow that helps with working faster, because many artists would fear of drawing things in one layer and screwing everything up. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of way to go around that by saving a copy of the entire flattened image, paint over on top, and just lasso the part you don't like and delete it away, and then start a new one and paint over again. So that's one way you can do it. That method requires a lot of manual painting, and to me, for something this simple, or something that is not as painterly as this, is kind of tough, because let's say I want to change this arm, I will have to paint over the back part of the body several times if I change it several times, and then that is a lot of counter painting. I do not want to go through that while working on my art. That's why I separate them like how it is right now. So at this point, when we are super clear that we are not going to change anything other than just detailing, that's when we can merge down, because right? That nothing is going to make you change anything. We are committed to the final result already. There's some layer confusion right here, so I'm trying to fix it. So we can definitely take a look at the hair that we just made. So I think this is the hair layer. Yeah, at this point you really can't see much because yeah, detail are just like that. It's just maybe 10% or 20% of the changes. You really cannot see much. And that's why we focus on making big shifts in the first place, because these are really the last 10% of the work you want to do. And sometimes they really don't matter that much because nowadays we are looking at from our phone. They are real. This detail that we draw are really small. Almost no one would recognize or notice it. Yeah, and at this point, if you want to add like some strand of hair, you are free to do so. You can make a new layer if you are not confident, or yeah, anything would do at this point. So I'm just showing you. I can draw another line here if I want to. And as I'm doing detail, I'm constantly thinking, how is the form of the hair? Are they folding? Are they bunched up together? And this will actually help in making it look more 3D in a sense. Because even though hair are single strand by nature, but when they bunch up, they look simplified as a shape. And also I am trained in 3D, so thinking in basic shape is definitely one of the fundamental that I really care about. Yeah, now we really don't have to worry anything because this is in front. And we can go ahead, definitely go ahead here and add more details. I think this is the fun part for everyone who wants to see this head come to life. Going to delete more garbage mat that we have made. If you are too worried about drawing individual strands, just make the brush bigger. Like this part of the illustration is generally bigger shape, right? So even if you use a bigger brush, we do see a little bit of texture on the hair, and that's probably what we also want, because its hair is like, if it's realistic hair, then that's supposed to have strands and big strands of hair as well. So yeah, so don't be afraid of like scaling up your brush to work on bigger parts as well. Let's take a look at the effects of having detail and not having detail. Yeah, it doesn't really change much, as I say. But yeah, it's really the last 10%. Even though this might be the last 10% of the workload, sometimes this might take a long time to do. Because detail are supposed to be more precise than whatever you have done. So you probably will go in and sharpen certain shape, like certain edges, try to make everything look good. Yeah, try to add extra strands. Maybe the extra strand doesn't look good. You probably need to do several tries. Or maybe you have to make sure other than adding detail, maybe you have to also make sure that the details you add is not too jarring. Yeah, and sometimes you have to go over it again just to reduce the amount of detail you add. Yeah, so this step is even though it can make some difference. Yeah, and this is where a lot of artists some artists would stop at this point. They do not want to do too much detail, and some artists would take the chance to push the last 10% for probably portfolio showcasing. Probably just that they really like a piece. And my belief is that an art is never finished. There's always a way to improve it. But my belief is also that's very efficient method for working on every pieces. There's a way to make it look at least of certain quality within the limit of time that you are allowed to work on. That's how this tutorial is going to be made. At this point, we are probably 7 to 8 hours into the whole painting, excluding the thumbnailing part. And usually an artist would take about 10 to 12 hours to probably push it to even more detail than this. Yeah, and since once you are done with the thumbnailing part, which is probably the most important part, because as much as you render a piece, if the composition does not look good, it will severely affect your entire piece, the content of your piece. So that's why we have spent like about 3 hours doing thumbnails, even though it's probably the least fun part of the entire process. And okay, I do not want to spend too much time on the hair because I am going to merge down the hair. Okay, I'm going to select the mask of the hair. Like that. And then I am going to the hair layer, the detail layer that we drew. Which is here. There you go. And we cut it out. Detail. We cut it out, and then of course we are going to bring it back to the hair below and merge it down. Reason being, I have plans for the hair here already. I wanted to blur the hair. So if you're afraid, always duplicate because blurring means destroying every detail that you have painted. So maybe sometimes you want to go back again and you do not like the blur, you can. So we're gonna find a good blur. It could be motion blur as well. Just now we have tried to explore a little bit on Gaussian blur. It doesn't seem to work as nicely as I thought. So let's try a little bit of I kind of like this. Yeah, this blur looks okay to me. And also 104. The back wing can also be blurred here, so I'm going to do that as well. And for the back wing, we probably don't need to use motion blur. Oh, we can try. Maybe it's flying up like that. This is too much. Yeah, Yeah, a little bit blur like that would be nice. I think we can afford to blur, Gaussian blur a little bit more. It's giving a lot of depth, which is what I am looking for. Same goes for the hair here. For this hair, I want to blur just the outer part of it, and I want to keep that part not blur. You can select more because we can always erase it. So I want it to blur in a motion blur because let's say the hair is flying. Yeah, the hair is following the wind. Yeah, the hair is following the wind direction, so that's why I'm doing this. Doing it this way. I will also erase what is below. Yeah. Since we have blur on the hair, what we can also do is use soft brush to paint over later on. So something like that is okay. And I have been staring at this hair, this line, for the longest time. It looks very ugly, so we are going to remove that. Remember, once you merge the distorted or blurred detail, you can use a soft brush to paint over instead of a hard brush. Because it will definitely make more sense if you use a soft brush at this point. This is the part where it's not as blurred anymore. So I'm trying to blend that transition as well. And we can also definitely try some glow. I really like how flat this. I really don't like how this flat the hair look like here. So I would like to give it a little bit of thick and thin. So I can even erase this entire part and redraw it again if I need to. With definitely a blurred brush, soft brush. Thing like that, and we can definitely add some overlapping. This hair strand can come in like that and curve, creating more overlapping. Sometimes it helps, so definitely try it out. And for blur areas, you don't really want to add too much detail because blur is supposed to just show motion and just to aid the entire piece. Yeah, probably only aiding the flow of the the whole painting. You don't really need to try to detail whatever is in the blurred area. As long as we know this is a hair and there's some strand of it and there's some gloss in it, I think that is more than enough detail for a hair. And we can also like add more hair strands. You do not want to repeat the same shape here. Yeah, it will look very repetitive and make it look not like a hair. Maybe you can try some other shape, maybe coming out like that instead of just the same shape over and over again. At the end of the day, this is hair. Hair is supposed to be a little bit messy. Yeah. And we can have also some extra strand coming out from here to add the layer of detail. Yeah, sometimes detail is not about rendering what's inside, it's also to show it on the outside as well. So adding strands like that would generally also help a little bit. And this part of the hair doesn't particularly look very well, and it looks perhaps we can give it some S curve, because I feel that this is not looking as nice. Perhaps we can erase this part and work on the actual layer of the hair. I'm not that confident with the fix, so I'm going to duplicate the layer that I'm working on and work on top of it. So if anything, we can compare with the layer below. I try not to add too much the black and white here as well. Like, this was a mistake to do it so fast. Because there's a hand behind it. Right now, the way I covered this part feels like there's nothing. Like, it feels make the hand feels like it's broken. Perhaps we can also have a little bit of hole here to show more, or perhaps we can give a reasonable hole here, so that we know what's going on behind it, and maybe draw some small shapes here as well. And these shapes can also be designed to lead our viewer back to the face. Just do it in small amount. Yeah, I think this makes a lot more sense. I do not like this line coming down from this direction, because it's not as fluid. I want it to be more 45-degree. So this is where we probably can merge these two flow of the hair. This curve is definitely looking more organic than than before. And use some dots to work on the notice that if I try to dodge here, there's a very weird way of how dodge happens, because our detail that we added is not fully opaque. So what we should do is, if you want to do the dodge method, you have to bring it down. You have to bring the detail to where the detail is, to where the base mask is, and merge it down. So in this case, the hair is here. But actually, I can't do that because of I love the overlapping that we added here already. So maybe we shouldn't be touching the hair at this point, because we can always paint on top of everything else later. Okay. For now, I have concluded that we are done with the detailing of the hair. For the next lesson, I will probably be flattening the entire thing and work on it again. And I hope you guys enjoy these pieces, this current progress, and I will see you guys on the next lesson. Bye bye.